share on groups. All nights.
Did you see those cool graphics there, Maddie? Did you see our floating heads there?
I saw the, yeah. It's like a fat head.
High-class production here. Hey.
Fat head of us.
Back for a new show here, Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas. And, man, always plenty to talk about, but now things have just been elevated that much more as the Golden Knights now trailing. Man, and that's an unfamiliar thing for us to say, trailing in the playoffs after losing to San Jose last night. 5-2. We're going to start with that, and we're going to sit on that for a long time. So if you're just tuning in right now, we want your comments. Start streaming them in. We want your takes. We'll tell you if they're good takes or bad takes. Is the sky falling right now? We're going to get into that preview. I don't think so, but only until Friday. Then maybe the sky's falling after Friday, depending on what happens. We've got that. We've got Runnin' Rebels news. Otzelberger making hires. Hires of Kruger, not the Kruger you may initially think of, but a really solid Kruger that you may remember from that Final Four, Sweet 16 run.
Final Four would have been nice, John.
Wouldn't it have? 2008, right? 2008.
And
six? No, it was
yeah,
six. You're right. It was six. Yeah, I was in Texas at the time.
It's been a while.
Not that anybody cares, right? But I was working in Texas. I wasn't here when that happened. Reno making a hire. Steve Alford is the new head coach at UNR. In case you didn't know, now you know. We'll break that down. Seems like that's going to kick up the rivalry a little bit moving forward. The NFL draft, of course, closing in. Plenty of Raiders talk. The Aviators opener. I was at the ballpark. We've got some video for you. You'll also hear from Cody Eakin. You're going to hear from Otzelberger. You're going to hear from Desiree Reed-Francois. And that's all coming up on today's show. Matt Gutierrez is here. Matty.
John.
Hey, great to see you.
You too.
Hey, the stream's up and running. Rich Giacovino.
Are we still live? I think we're still live. We're doing okay today.
We're up and running here. Facebook changing its protocols a little bit. So last time we tried to get up, we met some resistance on the Facebook end, but now we're back here. So hopefully the comments are streaming in, Matt. So 5-2 loss. Vegas Golden Knights, 7 penalties against them. It really didn't seem like they played 5-on-5 at all, especially in that second period where they give up 3 goals here. Outplayed in every way, shape, and form in that game. Worst game that I've seen historically, probably in my mind, you could put it in top 5. Makes me think of the Flames game, because it could have been that. It could have been a 7-2 game, save for Marc-Andre Fleury making a few spectacular saves in that game, which he did, but Knights dominated.
They were dominated, and it's because they tried to play Sharks hockey. I mean, let's be honest. They wanted to go out there and establish some sort of physical dominance over the Sharks and get into a fight, essentially. Just get into some kind of combat sport as opposed to playing hockey, getting into transition hockey, carrying the puck through the neutral zone, crossing the blue line with possession. Instead, they were more willing to just throw bodies around and take stupid penalties. How many times, John, did you see them throw the puck from about the red line, just dump it in, whether it was throwing it
great point
real high off the glass or just dumping it in off the boards and trying to play dump and chase and getting nothing out of it? Their forecheck was non-existent. They didn't get out in any kind of rhythm at all. And I think it's because they tried to get after the Sharks and get into their head and say, no, you're not more physical than us. And granted, I think they had one more hit than the Sharks did overall, but that's not their game. They had one more hit, and they got beat by 3 goals, and let's be honest, it wasn't that close. So they need to get back to doing what it is they do, and I can't imagine that Gallant's not going to have them ready to go in Game 2, playing a completely different brand of hockey.
Well, and we've learned a lesson, I think a big-time lesson here about this team. And I can't I think they were in a role going into the playoffs last season for sure.
No, they finished about the same over the last
They didn't go 1-5-2 in the last 8.
They lost their last 2 in a row, and it was ugly. Yeah. They were both in Canada, if you remember, and I think they only had maybe 6 wins down the stretch in their final 15 games or so.
Okay.
They weren't great last year, but again, it was.
But I don't remember it being like this.
Well,
where 8 games they get 1 win.
The thing is, they were in first place.
No, I get that. But you still want to be playing good hockey. The lesson is, you shouldn't be losing 7 out of 8 to go into the playoffs, right?
No, but what did the Sharks do? You can't blame it on that because the Sharks lost, 11 of 14 down the stretch? Well, the Sharks did nothing. The difference is the Sharks came out and played their brand of hockey, and they played their brand better than the Knights did.
Well,
and that's why
but they didn't come in overconfident. And maybe you could say the Golden Knights, they had that air about them. The last 7 or 8 games were fine. And you're going to hear from Cody Eakin talking about, we played some games a little bit more poorly down the stretch than we did, but it was like a shoulder shrug. It was like whatever, and you didn't see any concern from Gallant or any of the players. Maybe a few guys in that locker room. Marcia Show comes to mind. He's never happy with the team, the way the team plays.
He'll be happy if they win the cup.
In fact, Rich, why don't we just pull that up, and we're going to start with this. This is just the last home game of the regular season. This is Cody Eakin just speaking to me, really short soundbite. I just said, hey, you've lost. At this point, it was 6 out of 7 going into the postseason, and this is his response.
I mean, they're in terms of the standings, they didn't mean anything. Like I said, you don't want to let the bad habits creep in. You want to play the right way consistently, and some games were better than others. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Just one of those things.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
it's a very cavalier attitude towards, and I get it, you're an NHL player. Clearly they know that the team can play better, but that was the tone, I think, as a whole from the Golden Knights entering the postseason. It's just not a tone you want, and it completely showed up in Game 1.
It did, and maybe this is the wake-up call we've all been waiting for. We thought, the Sharks game a couple of weeks ago might be it, where they lost in overtime, and then they went on to lose their next, 3 or 4 in a row. There's no more time to put together 3 or 4 losses in a row. You have to find a way to start winning games, otherwise your season's over. Down 1-0 isn't the worst thing in the world. They were down 1-0 to Winnipeg. And I know a lot of people out there going, there's nothing like the Winnipeg game. They played really good after the first 5 minutes of that game. I get that. But it doesn't matter how good or how bad you play if the result is the same. They lost. They lost the game. You're down 1-0, whether you played great or you played poorly. You're down 1-0. Now you come out in Game 2, you turn things around. The goal always, when you go on the road, what's the goal to start a series?
Right.
Get the split.
Right.
Go back home with the 1-1 split, take over home ice advantage, go home with that split, and then carry on from there. They win Game 2, all is well. You go home with a 1-1 tie, and you've now got home ice.
Yeah, and let's see, that third period, again, was an even third period. 5-on-5 hockey, they both score a goal each. So it seems on face value it's an even series, but penalties were just disastrous in this game. And I didn't review some of the calls, so I don't know if they were good or not. Full disclosure, missed the first period, was picking up my daughter from basketball practice, so had to listen to that on the radio. But I know it was the back half of the first period was bad. The second period just, atrocious at times.
It was terrible.
And it was, right, once again, and then third period, they wake up a little bit, and you're thinking 4-2, okay, with 5 minutes to go. There was a little bit in me that just says if they get one more on the
and
the
they
score
had
sheet.
they had what was it, Merrill?
No,
Riley Smith.
Riley
had
Smith
the
had a couple
breakaway, had a
chances.
beautiful look at a backhand and couldn't convert there. That would have made it 4-3 with about 2.5 or 3 minutes to go. They just, when you spend that much time in a box, you're chasing the game.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Whether you're ahead, you're behind, you're tied, that much time in the box takes you out of what it is that you're trying to do within that game, because now you're only trying to kill a penalty. Granted, you get some rushes here and there. You get an odd man rush going the other way, and you might find a shorthanded goal. That happened 11 times in 82 games. It's not an every game occurrence, So let's not act like the power play is the only thing that they can score on.
Yep.
They've got to play 5-on-5 hockey. They can't go out there and expect penalties or expect to find shorthanded goals. They have to play 5-on-5 hockey. They did not do that yesterday. I don't think in the first 2 periods we saw 15 minutes of 5-on-5 hockey. I've never seen anything like it. We saw 3-on-3 yesterday. 3-on-3 playoff hockey. It wasn't overtime.
The announcers
There's
were not,
no 3-on-3 in overtime.
The announcers were not entertaining, by the way. One called it a 5-on-4 when it was a 4-on-3, something like that. It wasn't.
So many guys are coming in and
I
out.
guess
I don't
that's
know,
true.
They probably got confused as to how many
you
people
got
are actually
stats
out
guys
there.
What do I know? Let's get to some comments, and then we'll start arguing again,
All right.
especially about Game 2. So, Linda, I want to stop at this comment. She's from Vegas, but she's in D.C. at the moment. Folks kind to me when I tell them I'm a Knights fan, which you get that anywhere. I was at the National Broadcasters Association convention yesterday, the only one at the convention center out of the 20,000 people there that was wearing any sort of sports gear. And we're broadcasters. It was, I don't know. We're boring.
Let's be honest, people. Linda, had the Knights won the Cup last year, the D.C. fans wouldn't be so gracious, I don't think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Kim it was a poop emoji show. Yes, correct. Linda says they didn't want the win. Ronnie. Hey, Ron's on. Oh, Ron changed to Ronnie. Hi, Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Thanks for hopping on. Don't think that you just changing your name means that we don't know who you are still.
But he's at an Aviators game. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm so confused as to what's going on here.
Don't you call us out when we start talking about Aviators, Ron? He had to see the new stadium.
Man, we're pumping Aviators talk today.
Turnovers were bad. Yeah, we've got video of the new stadium in case you haven't been out there. We'll show you that in a little bit. Turnovers are terrible. They just look like a nervous hockey team, Matt. But before we dive into that, I want a few more comments here. Marshy gets punched in the face, right? Sits in the bin.
He did. He got a penalty.
That's my boy.
For getting punched in the face. Now he got an unsportsmanlike on that, so you don't know what was said, what was done, what
no,
we
that
didn't
was
see.
another. Yeah, that was another.
Who knows what actually happened there? But when you're looking at it, face value, he got punched in the face and went to the box for it. Yeah. And there was another 4-on-4.
He's going to come out on fire. Game 2.
Somebody needs to.
Mark Stone was phenomenal, and you saw when whoa.
Mark Stone.
I mean phenomenal.
Had 2 goals. Yes.
Hold on, in the sense that he was the only one that seemed to bring any emotion here. He scored the first goal, and he was like freaking out.
Well, yeah, it's a playoff goal, and you're down 3-0.
But nobody else was as fired up as he was.
You're down 3-0.
Right.
But Stone had what? 1 takeaway the entire game?
Okay, fine.
Leads he had a terrible game. Takeaways.
He had a terrible game.
I didn't say he had a terrible game. He didn't have a phenomenal game. He had a game.
In the context of the Golden Knights, he had a phenomenal game.
He was the only one to score, so we'll give him that. The whole team needs to step their game up.
I thought Marc-Andre Fleury played well. I thought Marc-Andre played well. You can say 4 goals. Yeah,
no,
I get it.
And yeah, they're not all on him. I mean, I'd say probably 2 of those he would want back. But you know, when you're in those kinds of situations, man, Brett Burns coming down that left side on a 3-on-3 sniper, and that's probably one that he does want back because you have a good look at it. You can see it. Merrill throwing a screen on Fleury and getting in his way. I don't know what Merrill was doing yesterday.
What was Nick Holden doing?
Where was Colin Miller? Mm-hmm. What lineup changes are we going to see for tomorrow's game? Colin Miller, absolutely going to be in the game. There's no way you keep him out again after the
way tinkering a little bit too much with Nick Holden, I think, in the lineup.
Maybe. So who sits? Is it Merrill? Is it Holden?
Yeah.
One of those 2 guys has to sit
down.
Well,
speaking for my wife, she doesn't like either of them. So
it's because Merrill has a mustache. That's why she doesn't like him.
No, I think it has to do with some other things besides the mustache.
Tatar? Not Tatar, jeez.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
I've got him on the brain.
Nosek?
Tomas Nosek. Is he
Carpenter?
Carpenter.
You're probably going to see Carpenter.
I think you have to see Carpenter. Did you see how many
times? Why can't we see Brandon Peary?
We didn't see 5-on-5 yesterday. Yeah. And I mean, you keep talking about how you don't like Ryan Carpenter as much as these other guys. This is why you have to like Ryan Carpenter on this team, because he does these things on these special team units. He is so good on the penalty kill. He's so much better than those other 2 guys on a penalty kill. You need that steady presence out there for these situations. And if it's going to continue to be an ugly series like we saw yesterday, then you're going to need somebody like that out there. Brandon Peary's not going to give you anything out there. He's just not. I'm sorry. He's not.
You're leaving me speechless, Matt. But I know you're right. And that's the thing. Carpenter over Peary. I'm not saying that's what it should be, but that's what it's going to be. I don't think there's any question. We know a little bit about Gerard Gallant, and that's what he'll do. But again, you touched on it before we got to the comments, and I don't think there's any question in my mind. I'm not panicking. There's a little bit of concern here because they came out so flat in that game. Just, again, one of the worst games that I've seen.
Let me ask you this. Would you prefer they come out and play like that and lose and be able to turn that around, know exactly what they did wrong going into Game 2? Or would you prefer they come out and play an absolute A game in Game 1 and still end up getting beat? Then what do you do going back to the drawing board? Then you've got to find something different because you did everything you were supposed to do and still found a way to lose the game. That's not the case.
That's a pretty big hypothetical.
Well,
but
regardless,
I would
know what to fix, right?
I'd take the better game and losing because you have at least a little confidence like, hey, we played our game and we just got beat. But now, here, they played terrible.
Does that give you confidence, or does that take confidence away? Well, we played as good as we can,
I'm
of
the thought that
it
would build confidence. Kim says Carpenter.
I'm sorry, John.
Barbara says, what happened to the Golden Knights? Well, we're talking about it right now, Barbara. Kim says, porn stash. And Tiffany says, Merrill sucks. Great. Yeah. Dynamite comment. Happy anniversary to the wife at home. I'm a terrible husband. I'm here instead of with my wife at home. But, I'm just committed more. I'm committed more to Las Vegas than I am to my wife. That's terrible. Man. No, I'm committed to my wife. Love her so much. We got a new ticker on the screen. Right, Rich Giacovino. Look at this. We got headlines down at the bottom.
Uh-oh.
Scrolling ticker.
Should move this so I can actually see the
good
monitor
stuff.
here.
That's good stuff. So, point being here, and we can, we will actually. We're going to talk a little bit more for sure about the Golden Knights, but they win tomorrow, and it's. But I'm concerned.
No, if they come out tomorrow and they look like we expect them to look,
but what if they
play
don't?
good hockey. Well, if they don't, then they're in serious trouble.
Right.
Now they get to come back home. You never know. You can turn it around, win the next 2 at home, go back to San Jose, and maybe find some momentum. But you want to see them play better hockey tomorrow. Win or lose, you want to see them play better heading back here. But you got to get that split. I think that's the most important thing, is you have to get that split coming back to Las Vegas, because we know what T-Mobile is like. We know the kind of momentum that can create. We saw it last season where they just rolled through the playoffs at home up until the Stanley Cup final.
Alex Tuck? No. I mean, who didn't show up? Yeah, exactly. Who didn't show up? Alex Tuck didn't show up? I mean, the whole team?
There was a moment, and John, I'm not kidding, it was in the third period where I can't remember what he did. I think he.
You're like, oh, he was playing.
No. He was.
He's
on
playing
the,
tonight. Yeah.
He hit somebody on the board. I think it was a hit. He hit somebody over in the corner, and they said his name, and I thought that might be the first time I've heard his name all night long. He was damn near invisible last night, and he really needs to step up, especially on that third line.
Here's a thought. Mention it on our Facebook my Facebook feed from yesterday, because you got booted off 7 times.
7 times it got booted. I don't know what's going on.
Game 1 reminded me of the Capitals series. Just big time. Just outworked in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
The defense was atrocious. I feel like the Sharks just looked at that series and said, okay, we want to beat the Golden Knights. Let's see how the Capitals did it. And they did it by just playing more aggressively, right? And really exposing the Knights' bad defense, which that was their liability, and it still is their liability.
It's top 5 defense.
And I'm talking about the defensive pairings.
Yeah, well, I thought yesterday's pairings were a little off. I think you have to have Colin Miller in there. He's the best skater on that team.
Yeah.
You've got to have him out there. And Colin Miller can be physical, and he's got that rocket from the blue line, and that changes games. It really does. Whether he scores or not, you have to account for Colin Miller on the blue line. You don't have to account for Derek England on the blue line.
Right,
you
exactly.
don't have to account for Nick Holden on the blue line. You have to account for Colin Miller out there, because he can fire a 105-mile-an-hour slap
By
shot
defense, I mean defensemen. I just,
Right.
As a whole, as a unit, when they're playing great on the forecheck and when they're doing the things that the team can do, great. But, again, you saw them get exposed in a big way defensively, again, by the back end is what I mean. And
I think the biggest
gotta be a
problem
complete
yesterday
turnaround
was
tomorrow.
they tried to play the Sharks game. They allowed, and pardon the pun, they allowed the Sharks to bait them, right? They took the bait, and the Sharks took a bite. I mean, that's what it came down to. They allowed the Sharks to dictate what type of game they were going to play, and they got into that physical match with them. The Knights can play a physical game, but they are not an overly physical team outside of that fourth line who loves to bang people. I mean, Reeves led the league in hits. Carrier, if not for injuries, would have led the league in hits. He was right there early in the season. And that's what they do. But the rest of the team needs to get out and play hockey. They need to get out in transition, be fast, be good on the forecheck, and beat teams that way, as opposed to trying to beat guys up and get too physical.
Evander Kane with another stick jab. And I think I saw...
Did they teach that in San Jose?
I think Reeves got like a feather touch in there. Reeves did something.
I'll tell you what, man. If this is a 3-1, 4-1 game in favor of the Knights, midway to late in the third, Evander Kane is going to be running for his life trying to avoid Ryan Reeves, because if this game is out of hand, Reeves is going to go head hunting. Absolutely. He's going to drop the gloves. I think he's had enough of Kane. He said it before the game. Ali Lozov was interviewing him, and you and Kane have a history. Do you have any message for him before I go interview him? And his response was, he already knows. There's bad blood there. It's gonna come to a head.
I mean, again, repeating myself here, but I am concerned. I don't think there's any question. With as bad as Game 1 was, can they just flip a switch and turn it on? You hope that was the bad one.
Sharks did.
Get it out of the way. But they're at home. That was a good atmosphere. I know they had a really cool pregame introduction, and the Knights pissed them off last year for sure. They're just a pissed-off franchise for the most part.
Everybody except for Washington.
Right. But, I mean, this is a franchise that just, how many times are you going to make the playoffs and not do anything, right? And I think maybe, when you have players like Burns and Thornton that have been there long enough that probably just fed up with it. And maybe this is the year.
You know that? Thornton's our age.
This is the year for them where they just might be fed up, and the tone could be different from that team, and it'll be a tough team to beat. There's no question about that, I think, throughout the series. So Game 2 prediction, do the Knights win?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was convinced they'd get a split. I mean, of course, we wanted to all see a sweep, right? Everybody wants to see a sweep from the Golden Knights because that's just the easiest path taken, but that's now gone. You have to expect them to be able to get a split. They're a very good hockey team. This is not a bad team that's going to come in and get swept out of the playoffs. I don't think. They've proven over the last couple of years that they can face adversity and turn things around. I don't know why this would be any different. And again, we haven't seen them play their game in a little while. So let's see them play their game and see what they can do against this team. They have a good history when they pepper Martin Jones in net with shots. He's not the best goaltender. He had a sub-900 save percentage this season, and he's horrible career against the Knights so far in 2 years. So get after him. He didn't have to do anything for the first 2 periods, and by the time the Knights finally decided to start shooting 16 shots on goal in the third, it was already over.
Yeah.
They only had 10 shots on net in the first 2 periods. And if I got to hear Dave Gosher say, miss the net one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Put the puck on net. These guys are missing wide all over the place. You've got to hit Jones in the chest a little more often because he's going to miss some of those.
Okay, so the big news today, well, I think one is, and I actually retweeted it from Jesse Granger with The Athletic. I need to bring up the quote, too. Hold on. Oh, no, it was about Gusev. Never mind. I was thinking 2 different things. So the big thing today, Nikita Gusev, right? KHL player. He's out of the playoffs. Now, all of a sudden today, they're having serious talks about bringing him, and you're talking about one of the best players in the KHL, so over in Russia.
They're saying one of the best players in the world not playing in the NHL. That gives you an idea of just how good this guy is. And he's not a kid. He's 26 years old.
The quote is from Gallant. Don't know much about him. George mentioned it today. There are some reports out there. If he can join us, well, then we'll just see what's going to happen. But I don't know the player well enough. Hopefully he does join us and he gets some practice time in with us. So Gusev, there's some talk, and officially he won't be released from his KHL team until I think it's a couple days from now, the 13th?
I think it's the 31st,
or is it? Okay.
Actually, 25th.
But he can be granted a release early.
Right. If they work out a deal. Now, the thing is if they work out a deal, then he will have the early entry. Is it early entry, I believe is what it's called? I forget the exact
Great. But we know he can't play.
It. But no. He'll, because he's I forget how it's worded. I apologize.
Right.
I talked to Jason Pothier today a lot about it from Sinbin. He's in San Jose with Ken covering the game. But he can sign with the Knights and be eligible to play because he's been under contract or under their they've owned his rights since he was traded from who was it? Toronto? I believe it was Toronto that had his rights beforehand.
You're exposing my lack of knowledge
back
about Nikita Gusev.
Expansion draft.
I do know the Golden Knights own him. Yeah,
but they have his rights. He would sign for the max entry-level deal, which is a $950,000 contract, essentially. The thing is that signing that deal for the rest of the playoff run will wipe out that first year entry level.
Okay.
So that will take care of the first year, and he can then become a restricted free agent after that first year.
Got it.
In which case the Knights would be able to sign him to a contract if they wanted, and then after next season, he would become an unrestricted free agent. So if he does sign with Vegas now, then that gives him basically 1 year up on getting that big unrestricted free agent money.
Boy, and you talk about putting George McPhee in a bind here. He's already dealing with salary cap issues. Now, if you move up the clock on him a year and he's a restricted free agent, it would be next season, correct then?
He would be a restricted free agent for the 2020 season, 2019-2020 season.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so you'd have to sign him to something.
1 year that he would play, and then would be an unrestricted free agent the following season.
You know what? Again, I think McPhee and Bill Foley, if you find a way to work it, you make it work, right?
You do, but I found it interesting when talking to Jason today. He said that just talking to Gallant and talking to McPhee, it doesn't seem like they're very anxious to get him in the lineup. Maybe because it's of unfamiliarity. I mean, they know what the guy is. They know what kind of player he is. They understand who this guy is. It's not like the KHL is some little league in the middle of nowhere that nobody knows about. You've all seen the movie Miracle. We know how serious Russia takes their hockey, right? They know what he is, but how does he fit in with this team? They don't know what he's going to be when he gets on the ice with these guys. So maybe they're not anxious to see him play. Maybe they are. Maybe they're keeping quiet about it because they don't want anybody to know what they're really thinking. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Nikita Gusev in a Knights uniform, at the very least at practice, coming up here pretty soon, just to kind of test the waters.
That's an interesting situation because you're thinking if it's a 2, and again, I don't even know what timetable you're dealing with here, but if the Knights are down 2-0, then is it like, oh boy, we need to shake up the lineup, we need to get him in? I'm just saying hypothetically, I don't even know if that's possible. Yeah. But now, talking about a team that if they're down 2-0, I think that's when you hit the panic button. And do they make a move like that? McPhee's never been a guy to make a move like that. I mean, you just look at I think this season, right? Where you're looking at Brandon Peary. Are they going to sign him to the team long term? They keep on sending him down. He's very patient and methodical, but typically makes a move that might be necessary for his hockey team. But if they're down 2-0, do they just throw him into the fold? And then is it too late for him to even make an impact, right?
2-0, you always hear the old cliche, the series doesn't start until somebody wins on the road. Right. 2-0 is not bad. It's bad. You don't want to be down 2-0, but you're coming back home. If the Sharks were down 2-0 going back to Vegas, that would be panic time. The Knights being down 2-0 coming back to Vegas is not as bad a scenario because you win your home games, and now you go back to San Jose 2-2. Everything's even. It's a best-of-3 series. So until somebody wins a road game, you just hold serve at home and nothing changes.
Glenn saying chemistry has been an issue all season. Has it, though? Bringing him into training camp with a chance of, well, what's with the grammar here, Glenn? He only knows a few phrases in English. Then you're getting into Shipashov territory there. But you're right. I mean,
he knows hockey.
If cooler heads prevail,
hockey.
Right? But I haven't seen enough video of this kid. Maybe he's got tremendous hockey sense. And by hockey sense, I go to Brandon Peary, right place, right time, puts the puck in the net. I mean, if he's one of those type of players that maybe is a little bit more well-rounded and just a little bit more agile than a Brandon Peary, it could be a guy that you just plug in and you just say, hey, go, and maybe he makes an impact right away. No idea. Don't know if we're going to find out this season or into the playoffs.
My guess is he's a better player than Brandon Peary. Well, I know everybody's on the Brandon Peary
I'm using it as an example.
But when was the last time Brandon Peary impacted a game? January? February?
He needs to be in the lineup.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't.
He has a knack. He has puck knack.
Yeah, but he doesn't have
He has a knack
PK
for the puck.
knack, and I feel like they're going to need a little bit of that in this series.
Need goals in the net. Ryan Carpenter is going to.
What's your prediction? Do they win Game 2 and come home?
It's
to
a
Vegas
one-goal game.
1-1?
It's a tight game. I'm not going to predict.
Come on.
I don't know. I don't know that they win the game,
this
though,
is
Matt.
Waffling over
I
here.
don't know that they win the game. They were that bad in Game 1 that I can't come out and say, yeah, they're going to come back and play well. I mean, it was that bad that they can't just make the switch like that, can they? I don't know. I think we're going to learn a lot in the first 10 minutes, right? Or is it going to be a Golden Knights dominating the first 10 minutes? Maybe. If they do, then I'll feel pretty comfortable.
Why can't they make the switch?
I don't know.
Have they forgotten how to play
hockey? But they
hockey?
haven't done it. They only did it once this season.
But have they forgotten how to play hockey?
They only did it one time this season.
Have they forgotten how to play hockey?
Well,
it hasn't been that long since the Mark Stone trade and the, what did they rattle
Right, but
off?
that was the one
11
time.
wins in 12 games?
They did it once. Last year they did it like 5 times where they just went on rolls.
Stretches. But regardless, you're saying they can't flip the switch.
I don't know.
They can flip the switch. Will they flip the switch is the question.
I guess you're technically correct. They can.
I think they will.
But I would say
think they will.
Versus last year's team, I think
this isn't last year's team.
The odds of it happening are not as great.
I don't think it's fair now, and it won't be fair ever, no matter what we're looking at on the ice for the Golden Knights, to ever compare any of their teams in the future to what happened in year 1.
Right.
Because that was a very special circumstance, and everything involved, starting with the inaugural season and everything that happened at Mandalay Bay, and just the way they came together in that locker room and rolled into the season and carried that momentum all the way through. You're never going to see anything like that. Whether or not this is a better team than that team was player for player is irrelevant. You're never going to see that type of thing again. So to compare them to that and what happened last year isn't fair to these guys. This is a good group of players. I think player for player, personally, they are better than what they were last year. They just need to put it together for the next couple of months and get going here in the playoffs.
I respect your point, but I have to disagree because now, mentally, you have to compare, right? And you heard Cody Eakin talk about it. Last year was a different deal. Now, in the sense, mentally, last year, nothing to lose. We're going to go out and we're going to play hockey. This year, we made it to the Stanley Cup final last year. I feel. I mean, it's a different mindset.
You know
It's a
what
different
that
tone.
is?
That's
every player in the NHL now. That's what happens. Now you're just another team in the NHL. You're no longer Cinderella. You're no longer this great story because of tragedy rising up from that. You are now just another
now
team
you're
in the
different.
NHL.
And now you're a different
team.
team.
You've got to find your own motivation.
Now you're a
that
different
motivation
team.
is gone now. You have to find your own motivation and get going with something different.
And that's why I think it's going to be more difficult to just turn it on.
Ties into another conversation I had with Jason. Me and Jason talk a lot. We talked about the lack of a captain on this team. Last year, you didn't need a captain. Everybody was fine with the 23 captains in the room, and that's great, and everybody loved it. But now you're starting to see where that kind of vocal leader, that kind of clubhouse guy that's going to get in everybody's face and go, listen, we need to change things here. You know, tell Coach Gallant, tell the media, tell the fans, we're not playing well. I'm not playing well. This needs to be better. Jason's pick, he says it's Max Pacioretty. That's the guy that needs to step up. He thinks he'll be wearing the C next season. I think he needs to start now. I think he needs to start jumping on these guys. He didn't have a great game yesterday either. Start with a little self-reflection. Let everybody know, you know what, I didn't play well. The team didn't play well. We need to get going. And maybe they can rally behind that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've been around the locker room. I haven't been around enough NHL locker rooms to understand the dynamics fully. But does a captain work? And I'm just thinking out loud here. In that locker room, does it work? I mean, all the guys get along. You don't really have that one strong voice, but they haven't needed it. You're saying they need it now. I get that, but who would be the voice to do it, right? And I think that's the argument. You picked the wrong person, and I think it goes completely wrong. And is Pacioretty the guy? I don't know.
This is a guy who was a captain in Montreal.
Right.
I mean, he's an American-born player that was a captain of one of the most storied franchises in all of hockey that happens to be in Montreal, Canada, and he did a good job there being the captain. I think he's a natural fit. I don't know that there's another guy in the locker room that would really want to take on that role. That's not Marchessault's strong suit, I don't think. William Karlsson's a little too quiet for that. Derek England is not that guy. I know everybody loves England, and he was the unofficial captain last year, but he's not that type of guy. And you mentioned being around the locker room. That's just not who Derek England is. Not that he couldn't step up and fill that role.
What about Nate Schmidt? Is he too young for that?
I don't think it's a youth thing. I think he's more of an emotional leader than he is a captain of the team. I think he's that rah-rah kind of guy. He's the guy that kind of gives you that boost of adrenaline, so to speak, to get you going. But that doesn't necessarily translate into being a hold you accountable kind of guy. You need somebody who's going to hold you accountable.
This is why we need Brad Hunt still in Vegas.
Where is Brad Hunt? God, man, I miss that guy.
Is he in the playoffs? The Wild or the Wild in? Did they get in? They didn't get in.
No, they missed.
Okay.
They missed.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they missed.
Comments, keep them coming. If you're new to the show, hi, we're Sports Adrenaline. Matt, John. Look at this lovely studio we have. It's a high-scale production here off of Paradise and Flamingo. We won't give you the exact location because we don't want Ron coming down
We can see the big wheel
out of the blue. Yeah, we can see the wheel. I'm looking kind of out the window right now. But give us a like. Give us some comments. Again, we love to interact with you guys. We love the comments. So if you put one up, just like Scott did, VGK had no intensity, also called them the Sharks instead of the Sharks. Maybe that was a typo.
I don't know why I like
Don't
that
think
so.
Don't
hilarious.
think it was a typo, but
either.
VGK had no intensity, clearly.
Looking at the T and the K, they're pretty far apart on my keyboard.
I don't think that was a typo.
All
right, so game 2 tomorrow night. Matt says Golden Knights win.
Yeah.
I say I don't know. I say it's going to be a lot better game. Kim wants a sticker. We can do that. Matt has the stickers.
I have stickers.
Yeah. I don't know, Matt. Do we close the book? I mean, I feel like we've been at this for 30 minutes, and we can keep on going around in circles.
Yeah, I think we hit everything we need to. I mean, it comes down to this: play a clean game, stay out of the box. Don't take stupid penalties. Don't get into unnecessary altercations. Don't allow this team to bait you into these physical matchups that take you out of doing what it is that you do best, which is getting out in transition, being fast, being aggressive on the forecheck, turning guys over, and creating offense in your offensive zone. That's what they need to get back to doing. And if we see that, you're going to see this team beat the Sharks in Game 2 and come back to Vegas 1-1.
And if we don't see it, hit the panic button.
No.
Yes.
No. They're still coming home. It's not time to panic until they lose in Vegas.
Hit the panic button. I don't know
disagree.
hockey. I don't know hockey.
You know sports, John. You know sports. Come on.
Hey, let's move on. Quick break. We'll be right back. In life, just like in football, you need good hands to score. The Michael Westra Allstate Agency will carry you to success for every insurance need. Auto, business, home, life. Michael will personally see you get the best rates, and our full-service staff at 702-435-4211 will walk you through any claim, not refer you to an 800 number. For over 15 years, Michael has served charities in Las Vegas. He's ready to serve you at 702-435-4211, 702-435-4211. Drink, dine, and play at the Pint during the pro football season. Join us all day Sunday plus Monday and Thursday nights as we serve up the best specials on the west side. $2 all-beef hot dogs, $3 beers from locally made Bad Beat Brewing, $15 buckets of Bud Light, and sound for every Raider game. Our carefully crafted menu and loose slots create a locals atmosphere you'll love, plus awesome parties during every Golden Knights game. The Pint, located at 9941 West Charleston near Wallapai. The Pint, your premier neighborhood bar. All right, welcome back to Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas. We got a lot more to get to here. We can certainly revisit the Knights. You guys keep on bringing those comments in, and as you comment, we'll keep on talking about them. A lot more news, so Running Rebels news, Aviators news, and we've got an interview with a Hall of Famer, Michael Haynes. Bose, you just tuned in. I hope you're sticking on for a little bit. Bose's sister, not that anybody knows who that is, but our new correspondent here, Tanya Brennan, interviewing Michael Haynes for us, the Hall of Famer, and we'll have that coming on in just a bit. But we're going to move on to Running Rebels news. We had some technical issues a couple weeks ago, so we didn't really get to dive into the TJ Otzelberger hire, but we're kind of, I guess, moved on past that. Let's talk about the Kruger hire.
Yeah, so Kevin Kruger. I tweeted out, and I retweeted it the other day because it's kind of cool that it happened. I said, how's Kevin Kruger doing as a coach? Anybody know? Maybe he makes his way back to Vegas. And lo and behold, here he is, back with UNLV. I think it's a fantastic fit. The city loves Kevin Kruger. You remember, led the team to the Sweet 16.
He looks just like his dad. I mean, literally,
so
when that photo came up, I thought it was Lon.
As soon as he cut his hair, he became his father. Amazing. But I'm excited to see Kevin back in Vegas. Can't wait till he gets here and we can start talking to him again. Great kid. Just was such a great leader for this team in that great Sweet 16 run, and it'll be exciting to have, a piece of the Rebel family back in the fold. I think Otzelberger is going to do a good job here. Honestly, the longer he's here, it's only been 2 weeks now, but you're starting to see you got the commitment from Jonah Antonio, the Australian kid who was in JC last year in Texas, shot about 41% from three last season, and has a bit of a swagger to him. Came out and said, "Yeah, I don't want to just be another white guy shooter out there. I want to show people that I can play. I want to go D them up on one end and come down the other end and splash a three in their face." So the kid's got a little attitude to him, and he wants to go out and play ball. Thinks he can be the best three-point shooter in the country next season.
And really quick, I want to go through, because there's a lot of positive news coming out. Otzelberger has done a pretty good job so far. He's building a base that, again, for whatever reason you want to say, didn't happen in the Marvin Menzies era. I mean, he was scrambling since day one.
Yeah.
But you have DeMarlo Slocum, Utah assistant, Las Vegas native, now joining the coaching staff. You have Amari Hardy staying. You have Bryce Hamilton staying. Yeah. So I don't know who's still up for a transfer at this point.
You still got Shakur Justin in the transfer portal. Joel Tomboy is still there, and Mbake Jiang is still there. I don't know if anybody else is in there right now.
So get Tomboy and get Justin?
I think Justin would be great because
Yep.
that's a senior leader. He's been here, 3 seasons now? He's a senior leader for this squad. You know what kind of player he is. He was a JC Player of the Year.
Depends on who goes after him, though, I have a feeling.
It doesn't mean he's going to stay.
Yeah.
It would just be, I think he's an important piece to keep around. I like Joel Tomboy. That kid showed a lot of talent.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And it was in spurts, right? It was very sporadic. It's not like he was consistent throughout the year, but he's a young kid. He was a freshman. But you could see the ability is there, and he's only going to get bigger and stronger as he goes. I think Amari Hardy is fantastic to have coming back to this organization. He's
going to be great. And
he
another,
is,
I think,
and you saw what he can do, man. He can get to the hole whenever he wants.
2 years from now, I think next season, I mean, he's going to be a better player, but a year from now, I think he's going to be this year he'll be the guy, but next year he'll be the guy you can truly count on.
If he's a second-team
Yeah.
conference player his junior year, if not better.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's going to be the leader of this team. I think his game, and he knows it clearly, fits T.J. Otzelberger's style, and that's the reason that he was willing to come back. You can like a coach all you want if you're not going to buy into his style when it's a guy that's just now coming in, then you're not going to hang out. And I think his style will help Hardy out a lot.
So let's go back now because we kind of hit on the big ones, and we can kind of discuss it as we move forward. But we didn't hear from T.J. Otzelberger a couple weeks ago, and maybe you haven't heard from him as well. So, Rich, why don't you go ahead and cue it up? T.J. Otzelberger has been making all the right moves so far. He won the press conference a couple weeks ago. He even came in on a helicopter, but don't show the chopper just yet, Rich. Why don't you just go to T.J. Otzelberger? Here's a little bit of sound from his press conference a couple weeks ago about what he's going to do for the Renner Rebels.
I am so humbled and honored to be the head men's basketball coach at UNLV. And I'm so excited to join the UNLV family. Truly, I'm almost at a loss for words, but we all know as a coach, you really are never speechless. To the many former and current UNLV student athletes, alumni, coaches, faculty, students, staff, donors, here today and elsewhere, I can't thank you enough for welcoming us into your family. Your passion is what makes this program great. This program is your program. We will play for those who came before us and for those who have yet to come. I look forward to getting to know all of you. In the weeks ahead, I will shake every hand, take every selfie, visit every dorm, eat at every banquet meal, and do whatever I can to engage with everybody who is passionate about UNLV. I was fortunate to befriend Lon Kruger years ago and had the opportunity to attend some of his practices here on campus. I hold Coach Kruger in a very high regard, and I appreciate his advice over the last few days. I'll continue to lean on him throughout this journey and the days and weeks ahead. We'll play hard-nosed basketball. We will compete for every 50-50 ball, and we will not lower our expectations of effort for any reason. We'll compete for conference titles, NCAA tournament bowls, and one day for a national championship again.
Yeah.
There you go. National championship.
Yeah, here
Book
it comes.
Book it.
Hey, if Virginia can do it for the first time ever, UNLV can do it for the second time ever.
Man,
right?
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe pair that with a Stanley Cup and a Super Bowl trophy.
So that's the coach that UNLV is getting, saying all the right things, doing all the right things. But now you have better coach in Reno. Steve Alford officially announced, this was 2 hours ago or so, the school announcing Steve Alford is the head coach at UNR.
He's going to have a blue jacket?
I'm telling you, the rivalry's hit a new notch. I just feel like now both teams might stink.
I mean, there's no way this team is worse this year than they were last year.
Right.
UNLV.
But
they've been terrible. UNLV has been terrible for 3 years. Terrible. They were bad before that and had a couple good moments. They've been terrible for 3 seasons. There's no way they're going to continue that trend. I don't see it. They're going after Julian Strother. Hopefully, they're going after him hard and they can convince him to stay home. That would be a huge get. You've got David Jenkins, who was at South Dakota State playing for Otzelberger, is going to transfer. Is he going to come to UNLV? He made 112 three-pointers last season. He would come in 2 years, so he sit out a year and come in that next season. That would be Hardy's senior season. I mean, there's a chance you could get good in a really quick facet here. We'll see if it happens, but
Well, and going back to Hardy just staying and Bryce Hamilton staying, I actually think that says a lot about Otzelberger because you're talking about players in this day of college basketball, they transfer. I mean, they don't really sit and listen to a coach. You know, maybe they listen and they smile and nod, but they say, I'm going to do me and I'm going to go. So he said something right in those meetings with those two young players that have multiple good years left in their college career where they move, they sit out a year, and then they put together a couple good seasons at a bigger school, a Power 5 school, and that propels them to a professional career somewhere. Not saying it'd be NBA, but he said something right to keep them there. So I do give him credit there, but again...
It could be more than what he said. It could be when he said it. He mentioned it in that press conference, if you remember, a couple weeks ago. The second he got the job, he was on the phone, texting, calling, Skyping, FaceTiming, every single one of those players, telling them, I want you to stay. I'm going to be your head coach, do everything I can to help you out, stay in this program, believe in me, believe in this program. From the second he got the job, I think that speaks highly of his character. I think as a player, you look at that and go, man, this guy's coming in and he's not trying to recruit over me. He's not trying to bring in his own guys to get me out of there. He wants me to stay and be part of this program going forward. And that could speak volumes to these kids.
There was a picture of him and Larry Johnson somewhere, and he was like geeking out today. Larry Johnson, congratulations, by the way, on making the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
First Rebel player ever
so
in the. And I can't. Is it the College Basketball Hall of Fame or is it just the Basketball Hall? It's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
College basketball.
Is there two different ones?
Yeah.
Because Tark went into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Either way, first Rebel player to do it. So congrats.
Which also is hard to believe.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to, do we want to talk Desiree? We have the soundbite. Here's Desiree Reed-Francois. I'm like waffling all over the place. We haven't heard from the AD about the hire, so let's go ahead and run that, Rich. We got it. So Desiree Reed-Francois about the hiring of TJ Otzelberger.
Previously, we shared our high expectations for our program. We were looking for a coach who embodies the spirit of Las Vegas, a competitor with the energy, the determination, and the firepower to unapologetically compete for championships. We needed a head coach who knew how to build a championship culture. And we needed a person who could help our young men achieve their hopes and dreams. Quite simply, a coach that I would want my son Jackson to play for. So we conducted a competitive search process, and we were aggressive in reaching out to head coaches that we researched and watched film on throughout the years. TJ Otzelberger embodies our high expectations. From our first calls to meetings in person, and after talking with countless basketball people and administrators, it became apparent that we had our coach. He is a competitor. He is a player's coach. He is a winner. He is a family man. He has the energy, the enthusiasm, and the depth that will earn our fans' respect. While none of us know exactly what the future holds, here is what I do know about UNLV basketball under TJ. We will go out every single year expecting to compete for championships. We will outwork our competition. We will recruit elite student athletes. We will engage our Las Vegas community. We will graduate our players, yes, Stella, I promise, and we will honor the past while creating the future that we all envision for running Rebel basketball.
Did she say running?
She always does. She's a robot. Is she tampering? She's a robot. She's so bad on the mic. I'm sorry.
Listen, I work at UNLV, so I ain't going there.
She needs to work on her podium skills.
I ain't going there. I like Desiree.
It's just.
I like
Desiree.
Desiree.
She's already trying to recruit her son Jackson to.
Well,
come on.
Here's the point I wanted to make before we move
on.
Already,
man.
We do know that she knew who TJ Otzelberger was before this coaching search, and she told us that for sure. So, little context for you guys at home, in case you weren't aware. She had her eye on him previous, and he was on the short list that she submitted to the search firm. And I don't know how long that list was. Who knows how many coaches? who was on it. I wonder if Steve Alford was on it. Probably not. But who made the better hire? I'm just going in directions.
Well, I mean,
you could make the argument that Reno made the better hire out of the two coaches.
What?
Based on a bunch of NBA players, based on a bunch of tournament
get fired
appearances.
From UCLA?
But before that,
he failed miserably at UCLA.
He had a pretty good run at New Mexico.
He did have a good run at New Mexico.
Oh, that's right.
He's not there anymore.
T.J. Otzelberger, where was his good run? At Iowa State
UCLA.
as an assistant?
You can't have a good run until you have a good run.
It is an argument. It's an argument.
We'll see.
Oh, Ron's back. San Jose, go 6 games. Yeah, 6 games, Knights winning 6. Great.
Yeah, cool. I'm good with that.
Got it nailed. Hawlit.com, HAWLIT.com. Matt, they're some friends of ours. What do?
Hawlit is, I keep saying it, man, it's Uber if you need to move something, essentially. You need a truck, you need your buddy's truck, and he's not available for you. You jump on this Hawlit.com there. They have all different trucks, different sizes. You basically just place the bid for what you need, throw them a picture of what it is you're moving, where you're moving from, where you're moving to, and get guys bidding for your business, and they'll come out and move your stuff for you, whether it's your whole house, just a couch, a bed, dresser, whatever you need. Hawlit.com, really, really cool idea here to help you get things moving.
Yeah, again, if you have a truck or you need a truck, it's a perfect website for you to go. And the guy, Matt, that runs it, really nice guy. We chatted with him. Really, just, wants to serve the community. And this is a good way to do it. He really doesn't make he doesn't get a lot of money out of this. It's actually the drivers and the people that are renting out the trucks, right? So if you have a truck, again, check out HAWLIT.
If you have a truck or need a truck.
Yeah.
If you have a truck and you want to help some people move and make a little extra money, Hawlit.com.
Draft pick of the week, Bad Brief Brewing. We ran out of beer, so we don't need to drink that this
we
week.
drank our 2 last beers when our show decided to
Yeah,
fall
that's
apart
true.
on us and not go out on air. So we're out of beer, guys. We're going to have to get some more in.
Let's get to the Aviators, Rich. Go ahead and throw up that video whenever you got it. Hey, we got a new ballpark in town. $150 million. Boy, you think about inflation over the years.
The Aviator is ready for launch.
I think $30 million in the 70s, something like that. But
83 at Oakland.
this is what, sorry, 83, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Well, when was the T&M? That was like 79, wasn't it? No.
83.
Same year. It's okay. Maybe I just can't hear. Hey, look at those uniforms for the Las Vegas Aviators.
What did you notice about it?
No alien on the patch.
Not an alien.
No
How
head.
many times did you say that the other night?
Rocketeer came in, though. That was the Rocketeer, so that's one of their mascots. You'll see video of him and the duck in a second. But the facility was great. The number
goose.
one... Spruce the Goose? Yes,
Spruce
Spruce.
Goose, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
The duck. It's not the 51s. This isn't Oregon. Come on.
Haley Dawson threw out the first pitch, so that was cool, and she has a really cool aviator's hand. So, of course, if you're not familiar with her, she's the first person to ever throw out the first pitch in every single major league ballpark. Hey, number one thing that I took away from this new stadium, the concourses are actually wide enough that you can walk. Cashman Field was, I think they were like 6 feet wide, and you try to cram 6 people across those concourses. There's way more food options here. The pool section is great. There's Spruce Goose and the Rocketeer. They take
It's a cool looking uni.
They take this aviation theme over the top, like on the PA system, and they're like, "Hey, Junior Aviator." They were saying that about Haley Dawson. The PA person was like, "All right, Commander Dawson." It was a little cheesy, but that's what you expect from minor league baseball.
Exactly. It's AAA baseball. Man, do you remember
Ricky Henderson? Sorry.
No.
Ricky.
Go ahead, Ricky. Man, Ricky.
I got excited.
Still stealing bases.
I saw it.
Do you remember back when the San Diego / Famous Chicken used to come in, and it was just it was fun, and we were kids, right? Kids watching that guy run around, but you had fun at the ball game. You're right there on top of it. You interact with the players. That's what AAA baseball is all about, because these aren't the superstars. They may become superstars one day. These aren't the superstars. It's not the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs and things like that. These are minor league ball players at minor league ballparks. We now have a beautiful facility to go along with our AAA ball club. But you need more than that. You need to make it an experience. And now that this ballpark is in a great area, you're in downtown Summerlin, you've got all the amenities right there in downtown Summerlin. Shops, restaurants, bars, whatever, movie theater, whatever you want. You can make a full day out of it. But you got to make this fun as well, and I think they're going to do a great job of incorporating that kind of fun into every ball game.
Yeah, Rich, just go ahead and rerun it again because I think people just want to see this ballpark. So recue the video. Oh, well, we can talk about Finn the Bat Dog.
Still around.
Thanks for throwing that in there. And yeah, the umpire. So this was a surprise, but a big news. This video got like 2 million views. The umpire took the bat away from Finn at the opening game on Tuesday, and the crowd recognized it. The crowd that was still there because the weather was atrocious. I don't know what inning this was, but he took the bat from Finn, and the fans let him know it. And if you're not familiar with Finn the Bat Dog, he gets the bat. You let Finn get the bat. You don't pick up the bat from Finn. Call it animal cruelty. I don't know. Somebody
even in AAA ball, the umpires need to be the show.
Yeah,
is that what it's about?
That was, and I mean, the umpire that didn't even bat an eyelash. He just grabbed it and threw it, and everybody booed him. And I don't know.
That
it was good
scoreboard
for
out
Finn.
there is fantastic. The facade is awesome. It's a beautiful ballpark, man. I'm excited for what this organization can be going forward. I mean, they've been around since '83, like we just mentioned. Whether it was the Las Vegas Stars, the Las Vegas 51s, multiple uniform changes, and now the Aviators. If they can just get rid of that UNLV/whatever it is logo that they've got, man, they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, so the logo, I was told by somebody, a good friend of mine, a longtime friend from junior high, he's one of the officials on the Aviators, and I see it there. It's so not noticeable, you can hardly see it on that patch on the right side there. It's on the top. Because I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it at all. That's how hidden
but
it
it's
was.
a patch. It's not physically part of the uniform. It's on the patch.
Oh, they know.
I'm wondering if they're going to wear the hats with the Aviator logo on it, or if they're going to stick with the LV hats.
I think they will every once in a while.
The gray and orange LV hat is
beautiful.
I love that one, man.
No, it was enjoyable. So get down there. $20, $25. I don't even know what ticket prices are now. I'm sure they're maybe a little pricey because it's the opening season and a lot of people are going to want to go down there. But still, right, you can probably get down there for $25 and really enjoy it. And I enjoyed it a lot, even though the weather was horrendous. So I can't wait to get back out there. And Ricky, look, Ricky. I had no idea he was going to be an assistant coach. So I saw Ricky Henderson. I just turned my back. I'm like, oh, bleep. Yeah. I should just say it. But I was like, oh, man, it's Ricky. And then I started taking pictures of him. And that picture that I just showed you there, he was staring right at me. I should have went up to him and said hi. But I'm not one of those media guys that says, I need a picture with you, Ricky. I should be.
There are a couple out there.
Yes. No, I know. Yeah. And I witnessed it that day. Okay, well, let's we have Raiders news, too, to get to.
Yeah.
I feel like we could make the show 3 hours. Maybe we should make 2 shows.
It's not Avengers Endgame, man. We're not going 3 hours.
Do a Golden Knights show and then do an everything else show.
We may have to.
The draft's coming up. We'll have an interview with Michael Haynes, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, here in a minute. Mm-hmm. But what's the big stuff going on with the Raiders as we get prepped for the draft?
The big news right now is nonsense, right? The Twitter beef here with Antonio Brown, who now says he's going to be Twitter silent, and because he doesn't want to give the media any more ammo. Him and Juju Smith-Schuster, a little back and forth, basically calling each other out. Just nonsense.
Is it healthy? Is it a healthy back and forth? No.
No, there's bad blood there, I think. Juju is the incumbent as Antonio Brown leaves, and he had a great season. But, it's funny how they spin this into, well, now he's going to be a headache for the Raiders. They're not going to be able to control him. He's going to be bad in the locker room.
It's Twitter. Give me a break.
Exactly. It's Twitter. If every Twitter beef in the world was an indictment on your character, then we would all suck. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't think it's anything. Honestly, it's just nonsense Twitter stuff. I think Antonio Brown's going to be great for this team. He's that absolute go-to weapon that Derek Carr has never had. And now he has that guy. He can stretch the field. He can go underneath. He can make guys miss. This is going to be a fun guy to watch in that offense.
Saw a little bit press conference of Mike Mayock today as they get prepped for the draft in a couple weeks. He said, he has the resources with the Raiders that he didn't have as a broadcaster, scouts, a whole team designed to go out there. So if anything, you know his background as a broadcaster, TV guy. Again, love him for that. Now with all the resources at his disposal, I feel like he's, I don't know, maybe he hits home runs in draft 1, but seems like, again, the more that he's around, the more that I hear from him, feel like it's a great fit. I guess we're going to find out in a couple weeks. So maybe we find out with the the number 4 pick in the draft, Matt. Does that set the tone for his entire tenure as GM? Or is it you've got to look at that first 35, and if he gets a couple home runs out of the 4?
I honestly feel it's going to be difficult to mess up that first pick.
Right.
Whether it's Quinnen Williams falling to number 4, the defensive tackle, whether it's Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, any of these guys. I think
Bosa could fall to 4?
You just don't know.
Right.
You don't know. Are the Cardinals going to be ridiculous and take Kyler Murray number 1 overall? Mm-hmm. We don't know. Are they going to trade out of that spot? I don't think the Raiders are trading out of number 4. There's all this talk. They're going to trade up to number 1 and take Kyler Murray. Come on. You've got a franchise guy in there right now in Derek Carr. And whether you like him or not is your own opinion. But Derek Carr can play this game at a very high level. He is a top 15 quarterback in this league. You don't get rid of that for some potential, for some maybe, for an undersized guy that hasn't played a single snap in the NFL yet.
Agreed.
I don't think they're going to trade up to get Kyler Murray. And I don't think they're going to trade back because there's just too much talent at the defensive position in those first 5 or 6 picks that there's really no need for them to trade back. Unless somebody came to them, maybe the Giants sitting at 6, and they just wanted to leapfrog Tampa Bay, get their guy, and the Raiders know, you know what, our guy's going to be there at 6 no matter what, and the Giants come with a ridiculous deal, and we'll give you next year's number 1 or whatever the case is, then maybe you go for something like that. But outside of that, and don't forget, you need a dance partner for a trade. Everybody just assumes the Raiders can trade and move wherever they want. They can't. Outside of those kind of extenuating circumstances, they're not moving. They're going to stick right there, and they're going to find a defensive lineman, whether it's on the edge or it's up the middle. That's where they're going, and I'm excited to see what they do. Late in the draft with what is it, 25 or 24 and 27, you're seeing all kinds of things. You're seeing quarterbacks, Drew Lock. You're seeing Greedy at corner. You're seeing tight ends, linebackers. I mean, there's too much fluidity involved to predict who's going to go 24 and 27 in the draft. But at number 4, I think you can probably narrow it down to 2 or 3 guys.
4 guys.
Not even 4. I think, honestly, I think it's going to be either Josh Allen or Quinnen Williams. I think those are probably the two guys that they're gonna have a shot at, and if one of them is there, they're going to take one of them.
Really quick, we'll run through the schedules announced.
Not the schedule comes out.
I'm sorry, not the
next
schedule,
week.
but the teams that they're playing.
The home and road games have been there for a while. I'm curious what you're most looking forward to as a Raiders fan out there. Which game? Usually it's the road games that you get excited for. You know who's coming into your stadium. But they're going to Green Bay next season, which is always a good time. They're going to Minnesota in that beautiful new stadium. Back to the Meadowlands to play the Jets. They seem to go there once every year or every other year. They play the Colts, they play the Texans, and then obviously the AFC West.
Oh, go to the Jets. Go to the Jets. Jets.
I've been to that stadium for a Giants-Raiders game.
Yeah.
Very different for a Jets game, obviously, but pretty cool stadium.
Jets stink,
big.
right? Jets stink. They're going to stink.
They're
not going to
be
be good
this year.
Okay.
Yeah, are they going to win the AFC
Yeah,
East?
that's a win for the Raiders. Go to New York.
Well,
go to the
let's
Meadowlands.
pump the brakes.
Go to New Jersey.
The most frustrating game on the schedule has to be the Bears game. It's a home game.
Yeah.
It's in London.
Yeah.
How do you take Khalil Mack out of a homecoming to the Black Hole in their final season in Oakland?
I would have made a point to go to
ship
that
game to London.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Yeah, you would have been there for sure.
Yeah. So let's move on. We've got a big event May 8th over at Topgolf. The Raider Foundation Celebrity Swing, and just Hall of Famers rolling through this town.
I got to cover this last year.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Everybody was there. Current players, former players, got to talk to Charles Woodson, Tim Brown. Without question, my 2 favorite Raiders of all time right there, and got to stand and talk to them for a couple of minutes. Woodson was through the roof excited about Gruden becoming a Raider again, and Vegas couldn't wait to see the team come here. So just an amazing event, and everybody turns out for it. It's really cool to see, and guys are just hanging out with these people that are contributing money to this organization, and basically what they're paying for is time with these Hall of Famers and these former players to come into their box and sit there and take a few shots off the tee for them for 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, and just hang out and have a drink and enjoy the night. Yeah,
sounds like a blast.
Really cool
we got a preview of the event, and again, not too familiar with Mike Haynes. I mean, familiar with his career, but not familiar with him as a person. And the Vegas sports girl Tanya Brennan, who is our guest reporter here this week, she got a couple minutes with him, and man, I was really impressed. Here she is with Mike Haynes.
Now let's talk about the Raiders a little bit. Before we talk about what the Raiders Foundation is doing in our city, I want to talk about you and the Raiders coming to the entertainment capital of the world.
Doesn't that sound great?
Doesn't it sound good?
Yeah.
As a Las Vegan, what should Las Vegans expect?
Well, they should expect a franchise that wants to win in the world's worst way. That will be loaded with super talented players, and they will be playing against other teams that want the exact same thing they want. So it'll be very much fun to watch the games and see how the Raiders try to figure out how to win that game. So you got that. You also have a lot of other guys who have retired from football probably moving here too because they love the Raiders, and the tax situation is great here. So I'd imagine a lot of folks would be coming to retire here in the area.
Let's talk about sports in the city of Las Vegas. We talked a little earlier. I said 17, 18 years ago, you would never think we were just saturated with diverse sports. How do you see the Raiders helping to expand this city?
Well, probably in the community. I think that almost all cities that have a pro sports team, they get involved in the community, usually with charity events. And the Raiders are, when I was there, they were famous for doing that. We'd go all over the country doing charity events. And here, even at this event here, that's going to be at Topps Golf, we're going to be helping a charity called Communities in Schools. And they deal with a lot of the young kids, obviously, from elementary, really through college. They have a woman named Sherry that I've been talking about this program with on different shows and everything, and I've really gotten educated on what they do. And they have a consultant or a counselor at every school where they're located or that endorses the program. And they'll work with those kids and their parents to try and make sure their kids have food to eat, and shelter, clothes to wear, books to read. It's a great program, and so it's for kids. They don't really get to choose the families that they come into, when they come into this world, and so sometimes parents need a little help with that. And so that's what this program is all about, and we're hoping that it'll be well received by folks that come here to Top Golf to help us out with that. But the Raiders are, wherever they are, the community is really the beneficiary. They actually try to make the place a better community and try to make it a win-win. So you come support the Raiders in the game, in their games, and then they kind of come support you in the community events that are going on.
Thanks, Tanya. Appreciate that. Thanks, Mike, for spending a few minutes with us.
We're getting the Raiders, man. It still blows my mind.
It's like, right.
It really
Get
does.
over it if you're upset about it.
You're
going to love this team.
You're getting the NFL.
I mean, what? Like, you're watching that and you're like, boy, Mike Haynes is a bad guy. Like, you just listen to him for 3 minutes, talk about, how the Raiders are going to grow the community. Like, get over yourself if you're still upset about this team coming to town.
Look at how much they've done in the 2 years since they made the announcement that they were coming here. Whether it's the goody two shoes stuff and the things for the vets and the pod homes and things of that nature, the Top Golf event. Everything they've done in this community already, and they're not even here yet. They still have another calendar year before they get here. They're going to be fantastic for this city.
I'd just get rid of the salt. Just dump the salt out. Switch to pepper or something.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. Okay.
So black.
Let's move on to the Las Vegas Aces. Man, I'm telling you, and this could be, seriously, we could have led with the Las Vegas Aces, I feel like, because it's big news and it's good basketball. And again, that's another thing out there. Women's sports or women's basketball. Oh, man, it just must be bad. No, it's good basketball. And number one pick going to the Las Vegas Aces, Jackie Young, starting guard on the national championship Notre Dame team, now coming to Las Vegas. What do you make of the pick? And, again, it wasn't the first option for Vegas out there, it seems like, but should be happy getting a guard and getting a shooter.
I don't think there was any doubt they were going to take her as far as their inner workings went. Clearly, they were looking guard. They were looking at Sabrina Ionescu, who is the guard at Oregon, one of the best players in the nation. Would have been the number one pick had she come out, also a junior, like Jackie Young is. So they were clearly looking to bolster that backcourt. And then breaking news today, we just got this, about 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago, that they made a trade. Let me get you the details here of the trade. They brought in
a former All-Star. That I know.
Sugar Rogers from the New York Liberty, right? Second-year Nia Coffey traded to Atlanta. They got a second-round pick from Atlanta for Coffey, and then turn that second-round pick into the trade for Sugar Rogers. So they're making moves already. They're trying to improve that backcourt. A couple girls here who can play defense, which is something they needed big time, especially in the fourth quarter of their games. A lot of these tight games for the Aces last year, they kind of fell apart late and weren't able to stay with these girls defensively. And this is definitely going to help that backcourt out.
Baylor won the national championship. I don't know why.
They beat Notre Dame.
Right.
Yeah,
Notre
they
Dame
were there. They were there.
Game. And one more last note before we get out of here. Las Vegas Lights, no teal. Are they seriously taking a Sharpie?
They have gold
no teal
Sharpies
on their uniforms.
You've seen the uniform for the Lights, right? It's got that teal kind of piping down the sides. It's very neon-esque like their logo is. And they are taking gold Sharpies, and they are doing camouflage patterns. Sure. I don't think patterning is a word. Gold camouflage patterns with the gold Sharpies to cover up the teal, because it's no teal on Saturday to support the Golden Knights playing the Sharks. Why aren't they just wearing the Golden Knights jerseys they wore 2 weeks ago? Wouldn't that make more sense than taking out Shark? Did they get rid of those jerseys?
They might have sold them.
Make another batch, maybe? I don't know.
The fans were so rabid about those jerseys that they might have torn them off the players' backs.
They've known they were going to play the Sharks, though, for quite some time now. I think they could have, at the very least, made, 15 more jerseys for the team. But gold Sharpies is what we're dealing with, so gold Sharpies it is. No teal, Saturday. # no teal.
Let's end with the Golden Knights, just really quick.
Yep.
Really quick.
Yep.
Atrocious game 1. And if you're hopping on late, we talked about it at the top of the show. We're going to wrap up here in a second, so you can just go back onto Facebook and watch that and then chime in and comment, because we'll be reviewing those comments throughout the next couple days here. Atrocious. Matt thinks they turn it around. I'm not so confident that they just turn it around and play well.
When did you become the pessimist in this group?
No, but based on game 1, based on yesterday, that's when I turned pessimist about this team. They haven't been, and again, we already discussed this, but it wasn't like last year. And I know, unfair comparison, but this team just didn't turn it on. They had one great stretch this year, 2 great stretches. After the first 20 games, they got into a really good groove. And then after the addition of Mark,
team.
Come on. They didn't just turn it on like they did last year.
John wants a 109-point team every year.
I didn't say that. I want a team that doesn't put together a game 1 like they did yesterday. That's what I want.
The beautiful thing about hockey, about baseball, about NBA basketball, it's a 7-game series. It's not March Madness. We're not dealing with one.
Panic if they lose tomorrow.
No, panic if they lose game 3 at home and they're down 3-0.
Yeah,
that's when you panic. You lose a home game, you panic. Until then, hold serve at home and try to steal one in San Jose.
Fair enough. All right, any final thoughts?
Man, so much going on. I'm pretty excited about the new ballpark, to be honest with you. My dad was a season ticket holder at Cashman Field from day 1 until the day they walked away from that stadium. So it's kind of neat to have a new ballpark to go see the AAA ball club I've been watching since I was 4.5 years old.
Cubs win today, 2-0. That's my final thought. Oh, and happy anniversary to my awesome wife, Tiffany. I'm coming home right now, honey, I think. All right, for Matt, I'm John. Thanks to Rich Jacovino in the booth. This has been Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas. Again, if you're just hopping on right now, show will end, but you can watch the archive. Plenty of Golden Knights talk. We've got a full half hour of Golden Knights debate at the top of the show. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Drink, dine, and play at the Pint during the pro football season. Join us all day Sunday plus Monday and Thursday nights as we serve up the best specials on the west side. $2 all-beef hot dogs, $3 beers from locally made Bad Beat Brewing, $15 buckets of Bud Light, and sound for every Raider game. Our carefully crafted menu and loose slots create a locals atmosphere you'll love, plus awesome parties during every Golden Knights game. The Pint, located at 9941 West Charleston near Wallapai. The Pint, your premier neighborhood bar. In life, just like in football, you need good hands to score. The Michael Westra Allstate Agency will carry you to success for every insurance need. Auto, business, home, life. Michael will personally see you get the best rates, and our full-service staff at 702-435-4211 will walk you through any claim, not refer you to an 800 number. For over 15 years, Michael has served charities in Las Vegas. He's ready to serve you at 702-435-4211, 702-435-4211.